going back to school, I won't tell my parents what I need until about 3 or 4 days.
You give them lists.
And of course, it will include making new housewares. You understand?
Okay, well, we apologize, daddies, and we wish you a happy Father's Day. I'm not supposed to condescend to the advocacy for more Father's Days in a year as against Mother's Days, but I'm not mature. So please, whoever's responsible, add the remaining 4, that we still need for this year. So we celebrate our fathers enough. Now, focus for Morning Crossfire this morning is on jurisdiction. The dictionary defines it as the extent of power to make legal decisions and judgments, and it is connected to the suspension and eventual arrest of course, starting with the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele. He was arrested by the Department of State Services, DSS. Emefiele's arrest came on the same day the President, Bola Tinubu, suspended him from office with immediate effect. He was suspended sequel to ongoing investigation in his office and the planned reforms in the financial sector of the economy, according to a release by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume. Also, suspended EFCC boss Abdulrasheed Bawa, who's in custody of the DSS. Spokesperson of DSS, Peter Afonaya, said Mr. Bawa was invited by DSS in relation to some investigative activities concerning him. Earlier, Bawa, just like his CBN counterparts, was suspended by President Tinubu indefinitely following weighty allegations of abuse of office. So 2 people alleged to have been corrupt were arrested by the DSS. Investigation is ongoing. And in response to this, human rights lawyer Femi Falana says the DSS lacked the constitutional power to investigate and prosecute the suspended governor of the CBN. In a message to journalists, he said Emefiele should be transferred to the custody of the EFCC. The senior advocate of Nigeria said the EFCC has the legal right to prosecute Emefiele, of course, for what he has been accused of. So this morning we'll be talking about the jurisdiction of the DSS, to be or not to be. Do they have the power to hold Emefiele for the crimes he has been accused of? And of course, Abdulrasheed Bawa. Well, Mr. Ige, over to you. What is the constitutionally provided function of the Secret Service?
Well, I'm sure as the name inclines, State Security Service, or now that is being referred to as the Department of State Security. To me, I think they have just about 3 core functions, or should I say 4?
Okay.
I think the first major function of the DSS is to prevent and tackle any threat to Nigeria's internal security.
Okay.
Be able to detect, and also prevent. And of course, what that means is that threats that go beyond the powers of the police and some other internal security agencies, then you expect that the DSS will be able to step in, and you'll be able to talk of, intelligence gathering, and of course you talk of acts of terrorism and all of that. So that falls within the functions of the DSS. Another function is also to provide a security cover, for some government
executive officials.
Yeah. Both not just executive, even the heads of legislature and of course the judiciary and some other key government personnel. It's part of their responsibility to provide security cover for them. Another one is also to uphold and enforce the criminal laws, of Nigeria. And I think they also provide the criminal legal services to police. What that means is that, look, they can actually do investigation of some things and be able to hand over their findings to the police for prosecution. To me, those are their major, basic functions.
So we have DSS officials protecting our lawmakers?
Of course. For example, you have the President of the Senate of Nigeria would definitely have a security detail.
Okay, those in sensitive positions.
Those in sensitive positions.
Because I was thinking of the number of lawmakers we have.
Of course,
and
the
wonder
speaker.
if
we'll
have any DSS official left.
No, the top-ranking, officials, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, President of the Senate, the Deputy, Senate President, governors, of course, heads of the judiciary, and some other high net worth individuals as determined by the operational guidelines of the DSS.
So looking at Emefiele's, what he has been accused of, what the investigation is supposed to work on, do his offenses qualify him for an all-expense paid trip to DSS? And let me quickly read what he has been accused of. Money laundering, terrorism financing, economic sabotage, mismanagement of forex, and the Naira redesign policy, among other crimes?
Well, I think the only one that will probably fall within the urgent purview of the DSS will be the financing terrorism.
Okay.
I'm sure you know that's one of the major functions of the DSS, to ensure that, look, we have a tight internal security. And if those are some of the allegations against Emefiele, then you expect that the DSS would want to extract, certain information from him. What has he done over the last couple of years? Where has he traveled to? They need to extract as much information as possible to be able to provide coordinates in terms of who did he meet with, where has he been sending money, who's been getting money, where have they met, and all of that. So those will fall within the functions of the DSS. Remember that the prosecutorial powers will now fall back, to either the police or the EFCC. I think at this point it's for the DSS to be able to obtain information that is particular to their own area of jurisdiction. Remember, I said that part of the responsibility of the DSS is also to uphold and enforce, the criminal laws of Nigeria. So that will be part of their functions, especially when you relate it to terrorism. The other ones could fall within the confines of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
In the event that the financial allegations, let's say there was no terrorism charges there, but was possibly going to cause chaos because the DSS looks at crimes against the state.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with my programs manager earlier today. Would that also be grounds for them to pick up Godwin Emefiele? It
depends on the allegations that have been sent before the DSS. We may not be privileged, to know all of the security intelligence information about Emefiele. They could as well have gathered more than what we know, and they just want him to either debunk or strengthen what they have, in their files already. So it's just within the realms of conjectures for now. Let's see what comes out at the end of it. It's still in DSS custody. I think they've gone to court to be able to obtain,
extend.
Stay, with them. I'm sure at the end of the day, DSS will probably brief us or hand over whatever they've been able to extract, hand it over to the Federal Ministry of Justice, who will now prosecute that matter on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria.
Now, Femi Falana insists that the DSS should restrict his attention to terrorism charges and let the EFCC handle the money laundering. While I understand his position based on what he believes are the core functions of the different departments, it's important to note that the EFCC did not go for Emefiele. So asking the DSS to take on the terrorism and give EFCC a case they were not interested in might not yield the best results.
Excuse me, please. I think what the DSS will do, what I think DSS will do at the end of the day is that, look, they will have a file containing every information they have about Emefiele and send it to the office of the president. Unfortunately, we do not have a national security advisor at the moment. I do not know whether Nuhu Ribadu will be playing that role. If Nuhu Ribadu is the special advisor to the president on national security, he may as well be superintending over the functions of the DSS. Probably a file will be prepared and sent to the office of the president. The president, of course, will have his kitchen cabinet and say, look, this is what we have against this man. He will have to listen to advice, call in some legal expert and say, okay, can we send this thing to the Ministry of Justice to prosecute on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria? So it's either they send the file to the Federal Ministry of Justice, or they send the file, to EFCC to say, look at the dossier we have on this suspect. Can you go ahead and prosecute this matter? So those are two ways, really. But I'm sure the DSS wouldn't be heading to court to say, look, court, we have this information about this man, especially if it is not relating to terrorism or financing terrorism or associating with terrorists. You understand? Any other thing that borders on economic or financial crime will have to be sent to the president, who will in turn now decide, based on advice, are we sending it to Federal Ministry of Justice to prosecute, or we send the case file to EFCC and take it up from there.
Yeah, but with what you have described, it leaves the EFCC at the receiving end, waiting to get a file from wherever it comes for them to function. Can they not institute? I mean, the DSS made the move.
Yes.
Right? So can't we see a situation where, there was investigation already ongoing by the EFCC, they have found some things, and they make the move, as against waiting to get a file to say, this person, based on the investigation done by another agency, is very likely guilty of this and that.
Remember that the offenses against Emefiele may have come from the presidency itself, or may have come from certain people who who are probably connected to the president, and they may have made a report to say, look, Mr. President, this is what we think this man has committed. And the man says, okay, no, based on what you have said, I think it's SSS that is in best position to handle this matter. Please forward this thing to the director of DSS. So it depends on what kind of information that has been available. If there is no information before EFCC, there is practically nothing EFCC can do. EFCC won't just wake up, and storm your house without any prior investigation, without any inkling whatsoever of what may have happened. So it depends on who got the information, who is in the possession of the information, and who has made that directive for the former CBN governor or the suspended CBN governor to be investigated.
All right, we'll be taking a break shortly, but I'm asking very important questions. What is your take on the president's anti-corruption war with the moves made so far, suspensions of CBN governor and EFCC boss, and their detention by the DSS, interrogation and investigation, which is currently ongoing? A lot of people will consider such a raid a political move. Do these arrests have that undertone? 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. Of course, WhatsApp is 080-903-06-416. Facebook and Twitter at Nigeria InfoPH. It's important to turn off your radio as you call. Akpaji Serenity on Facebook says, I'm beginning to like this Jagaban. And by that, I believe he means our president. Ebenezer Adeni says, did the CBN governor ever think about the pains that he caused Nigerians? What pain were you caused? And West says, this is my country. It's a funny one. The moment you are out of favor with the Supreme, you are corrupt and an enemy to the nation. Until we start doing things right from our constitution, we will not have true democratic system. So he believes this might be a witch hunt. Matthew calls from Rumokwarali. Good morning, Matthew. Oh my. All right, call back if you can. Still on Facebook, Agwasim Kenneth says, my fellow Nigerian youth and the former EFCC chairman of the EFCC was sternly warned, but he ignored the warning. Oh my, I've lost that message. Which has not only cost him his job, but his integrity, image, and reputation is being tarnished for no reason. Okay. Gospel Ihanacho says, good morning. The DSS did the right thing to arrest the CBN governor and the EFCC chairman, because both of them joined to punish the good people of Nigeria. Okay. Well, investigation should reveal what is fact and what is not. And I'm hoping that we can head to court after that to get some things clear. They should go to the former president, Buhari. He should be brought to book, and INEC chairman too should be arrested for misleading Nigeria. Again, investigation will tell us what is and isn't. I seem to have an Oliver from Mukboku calling. Hello, good morning, Oliver.
Good morning.
Good morning. You have just 60 seconds. Please go ahead.
Okay. I think yes, DSS has the right to do that, because yes, responsible for the protection of the Nigerian people. So obviously, he has the right to he has the right to arrest. He has the right to arrest the CBN government. So that's just what I have to say. So he's not abusing his power.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Oliver believes that the DSS are well within their right to make a move based on those reasons. Well, coming up after the break, we'll be talking about the arrest, of course, of the EFCC boss, and compare that to Emefiele's detention. Please stay with us. I'm Sam Oracle Chinedu. We're talking about the jurisdiction of the DSS. This is thanks to human rights lawyer Femi Falana stating that the DSS lacks the constitutional power to investigate and prosecute the suspended governor of the CBN. And he says they should restrict their attention to terrorism charges and transfer the other case to the EFCC. So let's look at another arrest that has been done by the DSS as well. Well, I have Mr. Olalekan right here as my guest. He's a journalist and public affairs analyst. You're welcome once again, Mr. Ige.
Yeah, thank you, Chinedu.
Now, Bawa is also being held for abuse of office. I see a very slim chance of the commission, and by that I mean the EFCC, prosecuting Bawa while he was running the place. So how does a commission like the EFCC self-sanitize if its boss has those heavy allegations on his head? How would the prosecution of such a man in such a position have happened?
Well, it's debatable, really, for EFCC to prosecute its own boss. That will have been very difficult for EFCC to investigate allegations against its own boss. It's like me writing a petition against the chairman of EFCC, and I'm sending the petition to the same chairman who I'm accusing of certain wrongdoing. I'm sure you already know that nothing, will come out and there is no other person I can send that to the commission that will not forward such to the boss and say, look, I just received this petition against you, and you expect that the man will say, okay, let's set up a panel or a committee
to investigate.
To invest. So you could say, okay, in this case, the president may have been right to say, look at the allegations against this man. Okay, DSS, you're a neutral party, in this matter. Can you investigate this and turn the file to me and let me see whether this is true or not? And I do not know the kind of allegations against Rashid Bawa, to have warranted the suspension. We are not privy to what may have led to that. But in this case, I think you could just say, look, the DSS may be performing its function of providing criminal legal services, to the executive arm of government. It's part of what the act that set up the state security service. That's part of the powers they have. Okay. Able to uphold, and also ensure that you uphold the laws, of the Federal Republic. So in this case, is to interview Bawa naturally, ask for his account details, look at his call log, look at the petitions against him, and see whether they can extract anything positive from him or negative, whichever way, and they'll be able to prepare a report and send it back to the president, who is also the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So you expect that they will do a detailed investigation, then forward the case file to the president or they will advise the president, or rather keep the file open and say, look at the outcome of our investigation, Excellency, you may wish to proceed from what we've sent to you.
All right, we're asking what your take is on the president's anti-corruption war. Is this considered a political move, or do this arrest just fit for what they have been called, a war against corruption? The numbers call are 0817-923-0002. Now, some residents of Port Harcourt actually applauded the president, Bola Tinubu, for suspending the chairman of EFCC, Bawa. Speaking on Nigerian Fool's Morning Crossfire, some of the callers said the action of the president is right in ensuring accountability.
The suspension of EFCC chairman is a welcome development because he was sentimental and tribalistic. DSS should investigate EFCC chairman very well because the way he was running his office, he was running it as the former CBN MFA was running the central bank, which is not the way to go. This one, I'm very, very happy for the EFCC chairman. This is suspend that man because all the money has been collecting from people. I've never been in federal government. This man is doing wonderful things. Let him arrest him and arrest him very, very well. I want to thank Bola Tinubu for this bullshit he's taking.
Oh, Mr. Ige. Apparently some of our callers also have investigative capabilities.
Well, I think you may not blame them for what they are saying. Remember that since the creation of the EFCC, all past chairmen have gone through one turbulence of the other.
Exactly.
From Ribadu to Farida Waziri to Ibrahim Lamade to Magu. You understand? To Ibrahim Magu. Now we have Rashiba. All past chairmen of EFCC have been brought in one controversy, or the other. Sometimes they may actually be, till today we do not know what is the or what was the crime of Ibrahim Magu. Remember, up till now, the Attorney General and whatever committee they set up to investigate Magu never brought out any paper to suggest that look, Magu was right or Magu was wrong. We had similar thing with Nouri Badu. We had same thing with Ibrahim Lamode, same thing with Farida, Waziri. They've all been embroiled in one controversy or the other. Their tenure, had never ended well.
Okay, we have Braid from Mile 1. Good morning, Braid. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, Olalekan, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, for me, the arrest of the EFCC chairman is a good one. But let the president, let him extend it to the former head of state and the former president. Because there is no way that the president, they are not aware of the deeds of this high-profile security men, anti-graft agency. So if Mr. President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, also for me, if he wants to fight it holistically, if he wants to fight crime, corruption holistically, let him also present himself. Because he's been once a governor of a state, he has become a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Let him also present himself. As such, it will be a clear indication that really is fighting crime and criminality. Thank you and God bless you.
Oh, thank you very much, Braid. Clement calls from Ada George. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. First, I'd like to say that President Ding is, let's say, it gets to lynch hunt.
Really? How so?
I don't know if there is another term I will use to describe that. My reason for saying that, of course, is not fast-paced. Looking at during the campaign period, where cash were limited, we hear what so I want to believe that maybe in the case of this that we have, I believe the same DSS we had in the previous administration.
Yeah.
And what should have done it? Yes, the court that they are trying to arrest, but the court stopped them.
Yeah.
I believe we still have the same court today. So what happened then and what is happening now? Concerning the EFCC boss, I did not say anything about the EFCC boss apart from the woman allegation, because we heard that he lodged for how many weeks in the hotel somewhere in the Arab. I spent so many, a huge amount of money where the money comes from, but the salary cannot. So that means the EFCC himself, themselves, and can the EFCC. But so for me, if you want to do something, just like what I have demanded, start with INEC. INEC. If truly that we want a Nigeria that will work, seeing the cries of many, because the CBN governor, of course, made us cry in January, February. In that same January, February, INEC made us cry more. So, from INEC.
All right. Clement,
thank you.
Let's give my guest some time to respond. Good news from Mile 3, and then Mr. Ige talks to us. Good morning, good news.
Good morning, my brother, man.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. How are you?
We're doing well.
Thank you. My own point in this issue, I believe that the EFCC chairman, like this one, they just want to change him and put their own voice. Now, let us start from Nuhu Ribadu, for example. All the allegations are Nuhu Ribadu. What finally happened? They removed him and brought in the Marathon. At the end of the day, the police still convicted him. Come to Ribadu. Ribadu was given heavy allegations. To the extent that I personally tried to follow that Ribadu's case, it was very obvious when Ribadu said to the world that the people that called me for panel never asked me about money. But in the media, they say, I'm vice president, former president, just he resigned for people to come and prove what they said. Finally, they removed Ribadu, this smart guy, this guy. And up till now, we have not heard anything that he did. They're speaking power. Now, power is half on a basis. I don't believe I will remove. What is the police administration and police? And there's nothing that has been linked to him up till now.
Okay.
Despite all the media and so I think that this government wants to put in their own too, not because they are criminals. Yes, the result of criminality, yes, they are not in their criminals.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you much. Good news. So let's start from the first caller. It says, why has the DSS not gone after past leaders, governors, presidents, and those who he thinks might deserve a call from the DSS?
Well, he specifically mentioned the past presidents and heads of state. And remember, that will be the last resort in any investigation. If, for example, Ministry A has some financial misdeeds, you are not going to start with the president. That ministry presented the budget before the National Assembly,
That's right.
defended the budget before being signed into law by the president. So the first place to start is to start from that ministry. Start the investigation. If it requires calling the minister order or to answer some questions, you invite the minister. If the minister says, look, I act the directive of the president to transfer this money on some personal account, then you are now having a trail of how transactions took place. So the next obvious thing is to invite the president and say, look, Mr. President or Mr. Former President, these are the allegations against you. We're inviting you to come and respond to them. So you do that. You don't go and arrest the man when no direct allegations to say, look, while he was in office, he transferred money from the coffers of maybe Federal Inland Revenue Service to his personal account to any account whatsoever linked to him. So it will be difficult to the head of state or past president to be a trail, before you arrive there. The other person thought that investigating INEC. Unfortunately, the president does not have the power to investigate INEC. The only body set up to do the National Assembly. INEC presented the budget, defended the budget. Only the National Assembly has one side function, to call the chairman of INEC, and say, look, we do XYZ. How did you spend the money? Come and give a breakdown of how the money was spent. It was remitted. You have auditor account of your agency and all of that. When can you begin to talk about investigating? Except there's a gross misdeed on the part of the chairman of ANEC. Only the president, chairman of ANEC. But if you have checked for more or not, they usually finish our tenures.
But what you have talked about would be in the case of a misappropriation, of course. In the event that Nigerians have placed, like they obviously do, that an election was fair, would that still be for the National Assembly?
If you say the election was not free and fair, then you head to the court. 2 billion budgeted to buy ballot papers and you didn't see ballot paper. There's a difference between election not being and fair and final misdeeds.
It's a case of the candidate that I love so much.
Okay.
Is not in Abuja.
Okay.
So, and we know that he's voted massively by Nigerians.
Yes.
So let us approach chairman because my candidate is not president.
Candidate is not president. That's why you should go to court. You want to challenge the outcome of an election. It's a different thing from accusing the chairman of financial inducement. They are two separate things. Anything concerning election must go to the tribunal. That's why you have the election petition tribunal. You go there and ventilate everything that you have as evidence to be able to prove your case. And once you're able to prove it beyond every shred of doubt, of course, the balance of judgment is in your favor. But if you're accusing the INEC chairman of financial misappropriation, it's a different thing completely. You can forward a letter to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate the man.
Clement said this is a witch hunt because the president in campaigning stated that the cash policy was designed to frustrate his chances. We all remember he made that statement. Could this be his own way of getting back at the CBN governor?
It's arguably the best way for us to whether it's a witch hunt or not is for the outcome of investigation that the DSS should be made public to us. Are there damning evidences against the Emefiele? Are there things that he committed that has warranted this? Were there the dealings? He's been accused of unnecessarily favoring some in terms of foreign and all of that. Is this true? If it is true, then let's have the outcome of the investigation. But if, like we've seen in recent past, where you have DSS investigate this, and at the end of the day, the case suddenly dies, and then you can say, yes, this man has actually been witch hunted. But we need to wait for the outcome of the investigation and see whether the federal government will prosecute Emefiele in court.
All right, I'll be taking messages from Facebook to end shortly. Good news said we want to change the EFCC boss. This point is not supposed to hold, sir, but with a peculiar history with EFCC bosses. It admits, as you said earlier, Nuhu Ribadu, Farida Waziri Mago. I actually forgot Lamode's.
Ibrahim Laude, of course.
Yeah, I didn't remember he was
Lamode's
there.
dead, Farida Waziri.
Yes. So, and now you have Rashid Bawa. Is there a problem of finding the right person to head the EFC? Or the case of whoever is in that position automatically becomes a target?
Actually, without a doubt, you prosecute people who have involved in financial. I expect to for sending us to court. It's a very sensitive job. I'm sure you know. Very sensitive that you can be hard money in your entire life. Somebody can table it before I say, look, why don't you forget this case? Why don't you owe this $10 million? Forget about it's a tempting position, and you expect that the commission will carry out its responsibilities and people will be happy. They will go to church and do things. Look, I was to go. Of course, yes, and you expect that exposed to a lot of people who are very powerful in this country. You know, I always tell people that don't be a president to be powerful in Nigeria. There are people who are not holding, if people have not held any position in Nigeria, but they are easily to court, and you know, people you never you got them where you growing, you know. President what's the problem with him? And of that. So you understand that there's enormous pressure on who becomes the chairman of EFCC. I'm well competent why a lot of them have not just ended well, because when the pressure becomes too much, then the president or those who are about to say those are supposed to say can as well start telling them, look, this young man that is saying EFCC things and all that allegations that he has already done, even though there are all manner of allegations can come up against you. I pray, okay, no problem. I've heard enough about this young man. Can you tell him to step aside while we investigate it? Please put another person there. Yeah. And the moment you tell them to step, for you to tell him it's always a problem. That
should make the next person need to be free. I mean, it's a cause of concern. If I'm placing an EFCC boss who has a case, you know, the currently investigating, and I understand the trend on ceremonial exits of EFCC bosses around.
None has successfully ended there.
Exactly. To make that position, I don't think I would take such a position, because I know at some point I also have to.
Someone has to take the responsibility. You have to take up the responsibility. You comment EFCC that they've been successful in execution of cases in India. In the last 5 years, EFCC has really intent for prosecuting those who are involved in economic and financial crime. So a lot of Nigerians want to take up that position. And incidentally, all former chairmen of EFCC have been from one part, you know, of Nigeria. So since we have tried all of these, you know, from Ribadu to Farida to Abdul to Magu to Rashid Power, from the north of Nigeria, maybe we should rotate it now to south part of Nigeria and see whether Southerners might be able to hold for better in brothers.
The question Facebook on WhatsApp says, please, can DS arrest any top 3 officer like Chief of Army Staff? Not your particular